there. Nancy, why don't you introduce the guest that you've brought in for us to visit
Francks,
with today?
as he just said, with the Eddy County Detention Center. I called him last week, or 2 weeks ago or sometime, just ask a question, and then first thing I knew, I was getting filled with so much information. I'm writing like crazy, and finally I said, would you mind coming and talking on the radio? You lost me somewhere back there. So he's a man full of information. And
well, what was the question?
I just wanted some stats of what was going on as far as warrants out and DWIs and that kind of thing, and I'm not real sure I even got that answer because I got lost.
Yeah.
I have.
Here, get a little closer to that microphone, if you would, sir. All right.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Lieutenant Bret Francks from the ASU unit, which we're kind of unique in the state of New Mexico, where we are affiliated with the jail type system. And so I'm employed through the jail. And what we do is we run the county probation office for Eddy County. We have 2 offices. We have one here in Artesia, and we also have one in Carlsbad. We currently are swamped, as you well know. We usually run in the Artesia office about 130 on probation.
Wow.
So that's about, and we do municipal court too. So we do municipal court and magistrate court only, which would be all your misdemeanor court cases. We also, here about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we established a conditions of a release program through the Carlsbad office, and eventually we're working with Judge Foster up here in Mag Court that we're releasing them to us for drug screens instead of keeping them in jail. Your low-level offenders, your non-violent offenders, they're coming to us for weekly drug screens. We do also the SCRAM bracelet, which is alcohol monitoring, which is a very, very great tool. It's about 99.9% accurate for alcohol, and it runs off of transdermal. So it's a bracelet that fits on your ankle. They come in once a week. We download the information on the computer, and then the company out of Colorado called AMS, they process the information, and then they send us back information if there's a violation, or it'll pick up hand sanitizer. That's how quick. I mean, that's how accurate this stuff is.
And this is from a bracelet on their ankle.
That's correct.
You put hand sanitizer in, and through that technology, it's sensitive enough to detect those things.
Correct. It'll pick up cologne, sometimes a cologne that gets in the skin system, and what it does, it vibrates and takes skin samples. It's a very unique instrument, and it's very accurate.
Sensitive.
Yes.
So is it more accurate than, say, the breathalyzer test or some device like that?
It's just another tool that we use. The breathalyzer is we use it too. But a lot of the judges, like, let's say your second time DUI, third time DUI, or more, they'll put a SCRAM bracelet on because it is accurate information. And we also do house arrest for misdemeanor, for muni and for magistrate court. We don't do any felony cases, just those type of cases. So we do that here, both here and in Carlsbad. We have a staff of about 6 officers, and we keep pretty busy. Currently, right now, I have about 180 warrants out of Carlsbad. We have about 45 here in Artesia.
And these are warrants, these are people you're looking for.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then what happens is in the process, if they violate probation, if they violate the conditions of release, we send a letter to the judge. The judge decides if a warrant needs to be issued, and then the process follows from there. And then what we do then is we'll jump online, because everything's on Google now, as you know. So what we do is we jump online with the court system. We give them a progress report if the person's violated, that type of thing, with the conditions of release. And then the judge decides if a bond is issued or whatever. And then on the probation cases, we give recommendations to the court as far as what we think needs to happen. If it's a jail term sanction, I can release a person on SCRAM. that type of thing. So we work well with the court system on that, both in district court and also in magistrate court.
So is the county commission you're over?
Well, my boss is the warden.
Your boss
Bill
is the warden.
Massengale.
Okay.
Correct.
So as you said earlier, so you're part of the jail
Correct.
system, not part of the sheriff or the law. That part of it.
That's correct.
You're
Yes.
under the sheriff.
But we also fall under what they call AOC with the state of New Mexico, which is another branch that they kind of formed this because years ago, 10 years ago, there was no misdemeanor compliance program. So every county now in the state of New Mexico has at least a DUI program or to kind of pair with the compliance program.
Mm-hmm.
So they're starting to get where they need to be as far as that. Now the conditions of release program, there's only 3 of us now in the state that are doing the conditions of release program. We mapped it out, what we needed to do as far as us, and I have a sergeant that was promoted, Jose Barraza. He oversees that conditions of release program.
And what are those conditions?
Conditions are like what we're doing, we're saving the county. We're saving Eddy County. With the conditions of release program. It's a nonviolent offender, your drug type cases. Instead of keeping them in jail on a bond that, sometimes they can't afford bond, what we'll do is we'll put them on conditions, the judge will issue them on conditions of release. They'll report to us, do drug screens, or SCRAM bracelet, whatever, instead of keeping them in jail because as well it costs about $100 a day for an inmate. So what we're doing, we figured we had about 160 people, so you figure $100 a day, that's saving the county a lot of money. We're saving about $17,000 a day.
Let's talk about the DWI aspect because that's obviously what Nancy is involved with the DWI task force. What have you kind of seen as far as DWI problems in Eddy County, say over the last year and a half that we've been going through this COVID pandemic? Has it been up, down, about the same?
It's about the same.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's dropped because of the fact of their DUI, and Cindy Sharif and her program is out in the community and they're promoting and they're meeting with people and they're doing their DUI checkpoints. So now the people are getting a little more alert on a DUI. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just takes public awareness to drop that stat. So that's what we're seeing now with a lot of the DUI. What they're doing, it is dropping because there's a lot more tools out there compared to what they were even 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it makes a difference in the DUI program of what they're doing, and it helps us out too because every person that gets caught with a DUI will go through a DUI screening, and then they give recommendations because they're the professionals at that, and then we follow pretty much what the recommendations are.
Right.
So it all evolves into one piece. All of us do, and also we do drug court. We have a nice drug court program, which we're starting to enhance our Artesia up here. We have a couple people in that program, and I think we have 10 total. Mm-hmm. At one time when I first came here 5 years ago, we had 20-some people in the program, but it is a very intense type program. It's mostly geared towards DUIs, second and third, and that type of thing.
Right.
And they have to go through intense type counseling. They have to go through. They have their own drug court, their own judge, everything. So it's a pretty unique program.
Because one of the things you hear, and you don't know what the perspective is or what the percentages are, the person gets involved in an alcohol-related accident or incident, and then we hear, well, this is their third, their fourth, their fifth, their sixth. I mean, that is a problem. Mm-hmm. How widespread is that problem versus people that are just getting their first or maybe their second offense?
I would say it's not as bad as it was. It's dropped. As far as now, we're seeing the first-time offenders, which, as well, we all make mistakes, okay? We learn from our mistakes, and then we just don't get another DUI. That's the main thing that we focus on in my department is, this is, you did something wrong, Now it's my job, as far as ASU, to hold you accountable for the job. So we set expectations up front. We work with them and make sure they get everything all done. As far as, because everybody that gets charged with a DUI, first offense, is probably going to cost you about $4,800.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Between the court fees and all the other associated...
All the fees that I impose, yes. And that's not counting a SCRAM bracelet if you get one put on, because sometimes judges, it depends on the age of the person. Now, I have people that have DUIs that are 19 all the way up to 60, 70 years old. So it depends on that person, I mean, you think you can make it home? 9 times out of 10, you can't, because...
Right.
Law enforcement, they're geared towards that type of stuff, and you may swerve over the line a couple times, you get pulled over, you're more likely you're going to get a DUI.
Yeah.
So how much does the SCRAM bracelet cost them?
The SCRAM bracelet costs $70 a week.
Oh, and how many weeks?
It depends. It depends on the judge.
On the person.
Correct.
But that expense is charged to the
offender.
To the
yes.
offender. Okay.
And here's
that's over the $4,800 you were just talking about.
That's correct. That's extra. Now,
it's not worth it.
well, no, it's not. But here's the number they pulled, 70. It's kind of weird. And years ago they thought, well, at least a person is going to spend $70 a week in alcohol. That's an average, because you figure, what, a 12-pack is going to cost you $15. So if you drink a 12-pack,
know, but...
well, yeah, I mean, if you go to the grocery store, that's what you see.
That's right. Yeah,
$15.
absolutely. Yeah.
So $15 a day adds up.
So let's take that money that you've been spending on the alcohol, and let's say, all right, you've got to spend it on this device.
That's correct.
As a part of your your
accountability.
All
yes.
right, we've got about a minute and a half left in the segment before we have to go. Bret, what would be the most important thing that you want people to know about what it is that your department does?
My department holds, as far as community, both in Artesia and in Carlsbad, we're holding people accountable. That's what, the people that you think that we're not doing anything, you get that. No, we are. We're doing several things. And along with the DUI program and us and the court system, we are. But as well as there's stipulations set forth by the state legislature. So we have to follow those legislature things too. But yet we also can do as far as holding people accountable, and we're doing that.
Holding people accountable. Well, and that would be borne out by the statistics, and if there's fewer people that are in, say, the court program, that would be an indicator that you're having some success, at least as far as...
Yes, we are. Our numbers, and of course, COVID. I mean, the court system is now backed up, and there's a lot of things that they used to be done in 3 or 4 months, now are taking a year, 18 months to get settled.
Very unfortunate.
Right, because of the fact of, some people complain that, hey, I've been doing this for a year, but you don't have a court date scheduled.
Got to get that done.
Yeah.
Bret, thank you so much for coming up and being with us. Bret Francks, thank you, Nancy, for inviting Bret. That's very informative.
Interesting.
Have to have you back someday. And
yes, please do.
Do this again.
All right.
That's going to be it for the